Hi, this is Crystal and Allison from the Rambling Lesbians. It's time for introductions. My name's Crystal Wren. I'm married to a lovely French woman. I live here in France. Currently, I have two things I have going on. First, I am a book editor and proofreader in the self-indie publishing realm. About half and half on working with cis authors and then with queer authors. Then as a side gig, because why not? I also own a website that sells one type of vibrator, and you may have come across it in a couple of the newsletters. It's been in T.B. Markelson's newsletter. In fact, it's actually in T.B. Markelson's book, all wrapped up in her.
It's actually going to be in my book as well. The whip that I've just finished, Sea Star, is a heavy contestant in that.
Wow, seastarvibe.com, that's me. So tell us about yourself, Allison.
Hello, I'm Alison Root. I am a sapphic fiction author. As you can tell, I am British, but I live in France. As with Crystal, I have a French wife. I met her on holiday and did the absolute cliche thing of U-hauling after
we did
months.
too.
Yeah, like I'll just move over to France. So that was awesome. I write full time. However, I've got a bit of a side business as well, which is a small holiday let. So that's nice to do in the summer seasons.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, I do. Well, I live in the countryside. So funny story, really. Me and Crystal met really randomly through it was online.
I read your book.
That was it.
And in the back, when it talked about Allison, it said that she had settled with her French wife in Western France. And I said, hey, that's where I live.
And then we found out it was really close to where we lived. So we really are about 40 minutes up the road from each other. And from that, a friendship was born.
Yes.
It's just really nice, actually, to have somebody to speak English with.
It is. It's for those of you that want to marry a foreigner and move to a foreign country, be aware that you better be deeply in love, because it is not easy. And especially when there is a language barrier.
Absolutely. I think I can safely say having Crystal as my friend has been it's been a real help. You know, it's a de-stressor. It's nice to be able to just chat with somebody without having to give yourself a headache with trying to know the language. And we have quite a similar sense of humour.
And we also are what we would probably consider whale readers.
Yes. By that, because it means we read a shit ton of books.
Yeah, I'm on task for about 350 for this year, not including work.
I'm going to tell you, Crystal, exactly. We're bringing it up. So right now, listeners, we're going on to our Kindles.
Yep.
And we are about to reveal how many books we are on this year.
All right, I'm at 350 for a target of 430. I did take a month detour to try a different app. So there's probably 12 books that aren't counted.
I am on 438 this year.
Wow.
Now, to be fair, though, some of those are shorter novellas. So, you know, they take half a day or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year for me has been absolutely smashed books, really.
Well, and then I was in the United States for the month of November.
Yes.
Because I attended 20 books in Vegas.
You did.
So.
Which I'm still insanely jealous of.
It was amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm really sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to at all. It was an amazing week, and I saw a lot of old friends. I got to see E.L. James, the author of 50 Shades of Grey. I didn't talk to her. She had a cold. I left her alone. I'm pretty sure that when people meet me, that I'm a little bit much for some people, and I'm okay with that.
Did you manage to give E.L. James a card for your vibrator?
No, because
shit. You should have done like a Chinese death star thing.
It's because she has a contract with another company. So I didn't want to step in and be weird. Be weirder.
What you should know, readers, is the one thing that Crystal is absolutely fantastic at doing is handing out her card for a vibrator to absolutely everyone, even to her vet.
Yes.
I love that you did that. You went to take
my dog to the vet.
dog to the vet and ended up giving
a card out.
Was it the vet or the receptionist?
It was the receptionist.
The receptionist, okay. But either way, you did it.
I did, because when I started this business, I told myself, you're not going to have any shame. There's no reason to have shame for this.
Damn right.
I gave my daughter's housekeeper one, not the card.
An actual vibrator.
An actual vibrator, yeah.
I can imagine that can be received one or two ways, either like really, oh wow, thank you very much, or why are you giving me a sex toy?
Well, I asked her first.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's that.
That's that section of it.
But, yeah, so yeah, no shame.
Well, no, in actual fact, it'll be next month's episode. We'll be talking about sex scenes and what writers and readers like to see in sex scenes. So sex toys will obviously come up.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun
one.
That's going to be a fun one. But we thought we'd start off a little bit gentler.
Maybe
it's not quite as.
Well, yeah, we're not going to get straight into the whole
strap-ons or versus whatever.
3 knuckles deep. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, 3 knuckles deep. No, what we decided to do was look at, something really straightforward. What do readers want out of a sapphic book versus what an author puts into their sapphic writing?
The different processes. And I am not an author, so we can take it from different aspects, the creative versus the
absolutely. And that's why on the group forum, by the way, if you don't know about it, we have a Rambling Lesbians group on Facebook. Feel free to go over there and join, because that's where we will be asking the questions for
the
episodes. Speaking of which, we had some answers come through. I'm going to ignore that top one, because that was the lady who told me that she didn't actually want to come into the group, but then answered the question.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
It was really strange.
You know what? If you're going to come into our group, and you decide you don't want to be there, what I need from you is what we would call a rage quit. I need you to blast out your reasons and tell us exactly why you don't want to be there before you leave, and then either we can remove you or you can go by yourself, but please tell us why.
So and Chris says that because we had a lady who and I'll preface this, when we started the group, you had to ask to join.
Yes.
We did not add anybody. You had to ask to join. This lady asked to join. We
added her.
And then when I put the question up for our first episode, she kind of got a bit upset, saying that she didn't know why she was in these kind of groups. She's straight, doesn't want to be in lesbian groups. So I was like,
yeah, she was a little upset that people would assume that she was a lesbian.
Yeah. So
maybe she shouldn't follow 7 lesbian authors.
So I politely said that she could leave. But before that, she went on and answered the question for the episode anyway. So whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that lady is now not in the group. So if you are in the group by mistake, that's absolutely fine. You can leave.
But tell us about it first, because I like that. I like a good rage quit.
Okay, yeah. Rage quit, go for it.
Rage quits are in fashion on the Rambling Lesbians, because then afterwards we can judge them.
Yeah, that'd be...
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was.
So the question for this episode was, readers, what do you want from sapphic books? What makes you happy, sad, irritated, or the above? Authors, what's running through your head when you write a story? Are you worried about readers' opinions? Now, before I answer any of these questions, there was a lady, I'm going to try and find her answer. Her name was Kelly McGann, and she is in the group. So hello, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly.
And she basically put, hi, I'm new to this group. I only discovered sapphic novels a short time ago. I know, don't judge. I can't get enough. Romance, sci-fi, paranormal, you name it, I'm reading it. Loving the idea of being part of a group with a similar passion. Looking forward to the podcast. I've read that because I think that's great. I love it when somebody finds sapphic books.
Right.
When they finally find
their place.
Where
it's safe.
They can read whatever they want and they see themselves represented in there. I love it.
Yeah. So I am in my 50s. So my teenage years were spent in the 80s in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is very conservative. So we didn't have an outlet. And I think that Salt Lake didn't even have a gay pride parade until when I was like 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
So we had nothing. And to get to an age where I see young people to be able to come in the market and be able to read solely sapphic books, they don't have to go through the heteronormative
Absolutely
process, and they can see their representation. That's amazing to me.
I mean, even when I grew up, I don't remember prize when I was younger, but if I ever read anything romantic, it had to be straight. And you know, I read it because it was nice to read about love and that sort of thing. But when I read my first sapphic book, my first lesbian story, oh wow, it like punches you straight in the heart, doesn't it?
It does. And it's also nice to have happy ever after endings, because so much of the historic trope for lesbians has been, you know,
somebody dies,
they don't get to be together, somebody goes back to a husband.
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? That's oldie but goodie.
Oh, God, it makes me throw up.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
And it unfortunately we still see it in media.
We do.
On the TV and things like that, films. Of course the woman goes back to the man. Of course. Why would it? Ugh, whatever.
As far as I'm concerned, men smell bad.
That's a specific thing that you think all men just smell bad?
They do. Yes, they do. I have a heightened sensitivity of my smell, and they have a
Is it like their sweat or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that smell. I'm not anti-man. I mean, I like spending time with my brother-in-laws, and I have my sons, and I mean, there are some men that don't have as strong of a smell, but mostly, they just smell.
That's really interesting to learn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, yes, we're super happy that Kelly has found sapphic books and stories. I hope you should find audiobooks as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got some more from readers. In actual fact, we've got one from Kellen McKnight, who is on this episode. We've done an interview with her, and that'll be played later on. So Kellen is an author, but she's also a reader. So Kellen, from a reader's point of view, the one thing that irritates her is that books with excessive sex in it always usually have to tell the reader this is super spicy, this is
it has to have
erotic
content.
It's got to have that
Notice.
But on the flip side, stories that have little to zero sex, there's no
notification of that. And you know, I completely agree. I think it's really frustrating for people that are looking for the non-spicy books, the sweet, slow romance. I think they get really upset when they're a third of the way into the book and all of a sudden, boom, there's a huge sex scene there, and it's graphic. It's not behind closed doors. Yeah. And, you know, the story might be great, but that could put them off and they would close the book. So I think it's a really good idea that.
Well, it's on the flip side, isn't it? Because if you're reading a book and you're hoping to have a sex scene, and you get to, and it just doesn't get there, and you're kind of, oh, all right. So maybe it should work both ways.
I think it's a really valid point.
The one thing I have that really it grates me is when a book is called a clean romance. Mm-hmm. This is a clean romance. So by that, they're saying that there's no sex in it, or it's like fade to black. I think the word clean has really negative connotations to it, because if it's not clean, then it's dirty. And if it's dirty, that's seedy, and that's bad. And I don't like it. No. Because surely, as you either don't like reading sex, and that's absolutely fine, or you do. Yeah. And that's just as fine. Right. But I don't want to feel like I've been a bit shamed by reading unclean romance. Well, and I mean, that's so prevalent in, the spicy romance across the board, whether it's straight, gay, queer, has always had that negative connotation. Romance, which is the biggest piece of the pie in the book world, they have jumped all over the people that write that and the people that read it. And so I think it's a really good idea that we take the shame out of it. And I mean, one of the
the things that people say is, don't, oh no, I don't even remember what I was saying about it. Don't yuck my yum. Don't yuck my yum.
I have no idea what that means.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some people like kink and they don't need somebody else telling them that that's yucky and bad.
Right, so kink shaming.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm fully on board with that. While we were talking, I've just read a reply we got from Tiffany Luann Reed, and she simply put, I really like sapphic books with spice. I like reading about two women going at it. That is
same.
That is to the point and same. Yes, I think.
And even a third. Oh, yeah. Third, fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Everyone get involved.
Right? Just be safe. Just be safe.
I can say from my point of view of an author, when I'm writing my books, I can honestly say when the story's there, I don't think of anything but the story.
No.
My brain is not on whether I'm going to make everybody happy or if readers are going to enjoy it. That comes after I've written it.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, shit. I hope you like it. If not,
well, it's such a broad range. I mean, it could be very simple, what we consider vanilla, and go all the way into some really dark stuff.
But not even just with the writing sexes or anything, the whole story, because you're never know if everybody's gonna like it.
Right.
You know, what comes in my head when I'm writing, somebody might think, crazy bitch, what are you doing? But I hope not, but it's true, isn't it?
I don't think that people are reading your books and saying that.
Maybe not, but
I don't think so at all. I mean, I read some really off-center books that are very different and not even close to the type of books you read or write. I've read some really kinky shit.
Yeah, I can't honestly say that I've gone into a book specifically to write kink. I'm too vanilla for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't write that either. But I have read some really, like, I edited an alien tentacle book once. Yeah.
Was it sexy tentacles?
There was a sexy tentacle there. There was the regular tentacles, and then he had a special one.
Wow.
Yeah. That book was actually really cute. Once I got past the special tentacle.
Was it a straight story?
Very straight.
Okay.
But I do a lot of straight work, and I do what is called Reaper's Harem.
Uh-huh.
So there's one girl, and typically there's 4 or 5 guys, and quite often that falls into the Omegaverse, which means that they are also through the alpha, beta, omega levels. And what is it? The alpha is not the omegas with their unit. Yeah, so it like blows up like a balloon so that
wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that. When I do edit those, I can tell you that my brain substitutes every single one of those men for a strapped up masculine lesbian.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that I
get through it.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah. What I like to say is that I'm straight for pay. When people pay me to work on straight books, that I do, but I got to a point in my life where I just don't read anything but sapphic books.
I wonder if I could write a straight book. I don't know if I could do it, because it crossed my mind when I first started writing, like, get out into the mainstream, because sapphic fiction is a niche, isn't it? It's still a small market compared to straight world, I suppose. So maybe I could write just one book that would have maybe a bisexual character that ends up with a man. She ends up with a man, and I just thought, oh no, I can't do it. Right, so we've established that I'm not going to write a straight book.
No.
So we've had quite a few people commenting, which is always nice. Well, there she is. Look, sorry, I'm just going down the comments.
Oh yeah.
Our rage quitter.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Leave her there.
I'm going to leave her there.
Yeah.
So if you join the group, pop on and have a look.
That cracks me up.
So Judith, a Rodder, she said that character development is something that she looks for, and I completely agree with that.
Yes.
I think if you're going to start your character somewhere and make sure they grow,
yes,
that's what it's about. She says, I have to feel them, care about them. Their dialogue has to be sound natural. Yes, I completely agree with that. She wants to laugh out loud and cry with them. Yes.
Yep.
My favourite books are ones with comedy in it. But the kind of sense of humor that I understand.
Yeah,
See, I like sarcasm.
Yes.
When I'm reading, I love sarcasm, and I will sit there and chuckling.
Oh yeah.
And my wife, she looks at me like, "What are you laughing at?" And I read it back to her, she just looks at me like,
yeah, sarcasm, ridiculous humor, absolutely.
If that's in a book, I'm there. I try and put that in when I'm writing. I try and put in my kind of humor, and I'm not going to lie, and this probably sounds like I'm a bit of a dick, but I'm not. But I do laugh at my own writing sometimes.
You should.
I go back, read it, and I chuckle at myself. Does that make me egotistical?
No. You should laugh. Like, I have always known that I'm one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yes.
So
that's my philosophy.
Right?
I find myself funny. Well,
so you should.
Let's have a look what else she puts in there. She doesn't like too much angst. Funny really, because in the interview we did with Kellen, she mentioned, and you'll hear it in a little while, she mentioned that angst has got quite a bit of a negative rap in the community.
Yeah.
Is it overdone too much putting angst in? I have read a few comments where people don't like the breakup in the third act.
Right.
But for me, that depends, because if it seems natural or if it seems plausible.
Right.
What I don't like is when a break
comes out of nowhere.
And you're like, what?
Yeah, and it's totally manufactured and it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense for the characters.
Yeah. Now, as far as angst goes, what do you think? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
You know, I'm all over the board with my reading. And if I get a story that has enough emotion in it to make me cry, then my next book needs to be a lighter fic.
Yes.
Or a really erotic.
Yes.
To get me out of the emotion. Because I think everybody goes into reading as a distraction.
Yeah.
A dissociation. So when you get a little too close.
Yeah. That could be hard.
It's hard.
See, I don't mind angst if it's really well written. If when I'm reading it, I feel like the emotion is natural and the story is naturally going in that direction, and they've written it really well, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's true. I struggle with angst where one of the characters is a bit of a dick, and they treat their partner as a bit. I'm not talking Ice Queen.
No.
That's different. I'm talking where one of that kind of thing. And unless the writer can really pull that character back, I end up not really enjoying that. Yeah. I think I would be with you prick.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that
your asshole character has to come back with redeeming characters.
Yes.
Or it's just not going to work.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, we've covered that one.
I think that we should do a whole episode on warnings.
Yeah, triggers. Yes,
yeah, I think
definitely
we should.
Do that. Yes, we will do that. Maybe we could do make it into an add-on, so it's not just once a month. We can just fit it in a bit earlier. Yeah, cool. Maybe. So June also says that she really likes a first good chapter, a good first chapter. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and not only just the first chapter, the very first paragraph has to catch.
Yeah.
So Kate Pickford was at 50 Books. And she did and has done talks on how to write a book that is unputdownable.
Yeah.
And it's beginning 101. That first sentence, that first paragraph has to hook.
I think out of all the books that I've written, The Misadventures of Kelly Compton was the one that I think hooked people the quickest. That's what my readers said, and that was because she quotes the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air,
right?
But makes it about her grandma instead.
Yeah, no, you've got to have something that captures the reader. I rarely stop reading a book. I'll push myself through almost anything.
Same here.
But it's the ones that really grab on at the very beginning.
Absolutely, just hook, line, and sinker, isn't it?
Yep.
I don't usually stop reading a book. There's only been one series that I stopped reading because I just simply could not carry on.
Right.
Because the description in the sex scene actually started to put me off sex.
Oh.
It was that bad.
That's bad.
That's bad. And I just put it down. I thought, no, you're ruining my sex life. So
and it's funny because as an editor, there are times where I've had authors want to try and change the terminology. And one of my favorites that came across was Lady Lips. And I tried to see if that would work as a line, by asking my wife repeatedly about her lady lips. And I can tell you that I got nowhere near them for weeks after that. There was no going there. And so
her lady lips were very close to you.
Yes, there were no hello, no come on by. So yeah, people need to be really careful about their descriptors.
I think so, and especially
right.
I mean, we'll be talking about it next episode, but especially in sex scenes, because if you write something that puts me off sex, that is quite an achievement.
Yeah,
and this particular author kept on using the word slosh.
No.
Yes. Every time things were sloshing, things should not be sloshing anywhere or in anything. Just no. I mean, it's like that word moist. Some people don't like moist.
Yours is
slosh. In a sex scene? Slosh. No. Anyway.
There's so much to say about that.
Yeah, there is. And maybe we could talk about that when we do
the words that bother us the most.
Yes. So right. Okay. Now this is Sally Morgan. Okay. So I put this question up, and Sally Morgan replied, and my reply to her was, "Oh my God, I love this. I love you." So I'm going to read it out. So this is for you, Sally Morgan. I am a reader, widow, straight, and happy to be allowed in this group. I love comedy, banter, and happy ending. Like Jay's wrong number. We love Jay. So wrong number, right one. It's relaxing to escape into a good book. Also, use some books for info like BDSM, okay, erotica, health issues, etc. Education is the key to understanding. Thus far, I think the authors I've read have written on these topics with sensitivity and done much research. I have favourite genre, medical, cops, mystery, age gap. Not fond of supernatural or vampire shapeshifters, but have read some. Fair enough. Yeah. Favourite authors in each group, so not one favourite. Age gap affirms that age is just a number. Love is love. I love sapphic mostly for the friendships, the compassion, and most gals have a straight friend. Me. Also love their gay men friends. My granddaughter's BFF in college and still today is a gay man. I love him too. How sad to never know what a dear friend can be. Spice is nice. TMI spoils my imagination. I would like to see more acceptance from parents when their children announce they are gay. I still have trouble at the number that reject their children in the books and real life. There are always your children. Why should it matter who they love? Be happy they can love and enjoy their lives. Didn't mean to ramble. That's what you're here for, Sally. Began my journey with Sapphic in 2018 with Harper Bliss's novels, French Kissing, and never looked back, only forward. My thanks to all you authors for my hours of pleasure, because at 81, I have many hours of leisure to fill.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Sally Morgan, 81, is in our group for Sapphic Rambling Lesbians.
Yep.
And she loves it.
And one of these days, I think that we should have Sally on. We should interview Sally.
Oh, we should, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Sally, I'm going to be contacting you. The reason I love that so much was that I hear so many times with people who have problems with the LGBT community is that, oh, it's a generational thing. Mm-hmm. I was brought up differently.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. But as humans, we are able to evolve and change our mind. Sally Morgan at 81 is reading sapphic books so she can learn about BDSM and erotica, and she just thinks everybody should be loved. And I thought that was absolutely precious.
Amazing. And for me, that, you know, I'm in an age gap relationship. My wife is 10 years older than I am. And at my age, it was really scary. And there was a lot of that rejection. I had some issues with that. And I ended up actually married to a man for 15 years, even though I had come out as gay when I was 16. By 22, I was married with my first child and then had another one. Luckily, after 15 years, he said, you know, I'd really like to be married to somebody that would be in love with me. And I'm like, I agree.
Yeah.
But we had agreed to separate after the kids were grown anyway. He just bowed out earlier. I turned around and met my wife within weeks, and it's been 17 years. So...
And that's beautiful, but it's also really sad that you made to feel like you had to be with a man, you had to toe the line, you had to be normal, and I put that in quotes because
Right.
that's a hideous word.
Well, and my wife the same. She had 2 husbands, and she didn't come out until she met me, and she was 47.
So we've still got quite a long way to go, but
We do.
do you know
It's
what,
getting
with
so much better.
people with with people like Sally Morgan, who is 81 and has got such a beautiful attitude, I think hopefully we'll get there one day.
Yeah.
So after that little gush of love for Sally, we get to a couple of people who what they dislike is grammar errors.
Me too.
So that's not really to sapphic fiction. I think
No, that's all of it.
Just all of
Yeah.
it. However, what would you say though about grammar errors in books that they're new authors and can't afford editors yet? They haven't got the money yet to.
Right. So AI has got a really bad rap. Authors, editors, artists are very frightened of what's coming through, but it is a tool and it can be used to help new authors, especially with those grammar errors. And there is Grammarly is a program that helps.
Pro Writer Aid.
And oddly enough, Chat GPT, if you drop your information in there and ask it to fix your grammar, it can and will, and probably a little bit better in some cases than Grammarly can.
Yeah.
As far as the punctuation.
Yeah.
But also there are things that we do a little different in fiction that you would have to ask it to emulate that.
Yeah. Authors shouldn't be afraid to use it as a tool, especially if they're straight fresh out of the gate trying to get their first book out there.
Absolutely. Use every tool available to you.
I use Pro Writer Aid because my grammar and punctuation is appalling. It's the thing I never clicked onto at school. It just didn't interest me, so I couldn't learn it.
To be fair, I didn't learn it in school either. It wasn't until I had the brain damage and had to learn how to read and write again that I had to go back and relearn it and been able to use it properly.
When I say I read loads as well. So when I come across a book that has got a lot of grammar mistakes, punctuation mistakes, whatever, I will often see how many books the author has written. If like they're on the 15th, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, maybe it's time to, because I certainly did that. My first 3 books I just had to do by myself. I couldn't afford it, and it was only when a lovely lady called Mona messaged me and says, I've read your book, can I help you please? It's for free.
Yes.
I was like, yes please. And then it was then after that I started to make a little bit of royalty money that I thought I need to put the money back into my books again.
Right.
So I've started to do that, but I certainly don't read a book and see grammar mistakes and go, nope, that's it, I'm putting it down.
See, in the early days of Kindle, there was a lot of that.
Right, okay.
Because we didn't have the programs like Pro Writing Aid.
Yeah.
And Grammarly was brand new. So there was a lot of that. And it's just not allowed anymore.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to point out is if you are reading through Kindle and Kindle Unlimited, if there is an error, please do not report it to Amazon. That is hurting your author. If you want to help your author, get a hold of them directly. Some of them are really responsive to that, and some of them may not respond at all, but do not report it to Amazon. That's not how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. I reiterate that. Don't just a lot of authors who they invest their time and their emotions in that book. So if there are mistakes in there, message them. I'm quite happy for anybody to say, oh, I've just found this, found that. Thank you. Let me go and sort it out, because I want to produce a good book.
Right. Well, and I am a perfectionist. I want to be perfect and do the best that I can in that job. But I also know that it is impossible to remove all the typos from a book.
Yes.
There are going to be a few there.
They slip those little bastards through somewhere, haven't they?
There will always be a few typos, and
I think it's just how it is, isn't it?
It is.
They just slip through.
Yep.
So on that one, I think that for the grammar errors and whatnot, it's sort of a 50-50 for me, depending how many books that author has written personally. So we've got a few more of our lovely ramblers who have said character development again. A book that's not just dialogue. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. But some dialogue heavy books are really good, actually, if they've got the dialogue right, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah. The story.
It really does depend on the story. Some authors are really good with dialogue, and others are really good with, creating the scenery for you and really pulling you into that space.
So what I've gathered from all the people that have messaged in is they're like a good first chapter.
Yep.
Developed characters.
Yep.
Less on the grammar errors. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think everybody has got their own. Everybody's always going to have their own likes and dislikes and preferences. Same with authors. When you write a book, you're just writing a book and hope to God it's going to come across well.
Right.
But maybe that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? Is that everything's open to interpretation, personal interpretation.
It's all art. And what's amazing is there are some authors that can write a certain genre, like romance.
Yeah.
And contemporary romance, but they wouldn't be able to turn around and do a space opera.
Yes.
It's just too different.
Yes, absolutely.
So everybody has their niche. Find your niche.
Yes. Enjoy
it. Because at the end of the day, this is your journey, and you should really feel good about what you're doing, whether it's reading or writing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you're reading, not only are you supporting the authors, which is awesome, but for readers, you're taking a journey into another world. You're taking a journey partly into the author's world, because that's always gets put into a book somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's their experience. It's
absolutely
their viewpoint.
For authors, and I can't speak for every author, but for me, my experiences go into my books. My humor goes into my books, and what I want out of my books is just, I'm happy if one person likes it. If one person says that was really
I like your books.
Awesome.
You're done.
Thanks, Crystal.
You're welcome.
I've succeeded. That's the end of it. Talking of authors, we're going to cut over now to our interview with Kellen. I think it went pretty well.
I think so too.
So we'll cut over to that just now. Have a listen to what we spoke to Kellen about her book, A Perfect Fit, and see what you think. This is our interview with Kellen McKnight. Welcome to the show, our very first author on Rambling Lesbians.
And we're going to have a great time. We've got some questions for Kellen, and she's prepared. I am not. Let's move on.
We're going to go with I'm prepared.
Oh, okay. Good. Can I just say the very first thing, your name, Kellen McKnight, am I wrong in saying it should be a superhero lesbian main character?
No,
you think of that name?
Yeah, that's definitely in the... Yeah.
As a main character's name?
Absolutely.
I'm convinced of it.
I'm down with that.
What do you think, Kellen?
I can't reveal my alternate identity. I'm sorry, but...
So, are you already a superhero?
She's a lesbian, isn't she?
Fucking busted that wide open already.
I mean, I think that automatically makes me a superhero.
I think so too.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
You know, not to diss on our queer sisters. We want to throw in the bias with that, because we're all about inclusivity. It is not just for lesbians. Just wanted to say that.
No. Sapphics.
No.
Sapphics.
Exactly.
And queers.
Sapphics and queers. Okay, right. So, Kellen McKnight, A Perfect Fit is your very first book, your debut novel.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It is doing extremely well.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Okay, so we'll jump to the questions. What inspired A Perfect Fit?
As far as any one thing that inspired the story, nothing. I will tell you that I literally saw a picture of a character who I modeled after Parker, and the story just kind of went in my mind from there. So there was no basis for the story to start out with. I was just like, that chick's really hot. I'm going to write a story about her. That's pretty much the extent of it.
She seems like your kind of woman.
Yes, that's
exactly what Crystal would do.
Yeah.
She seems hot. I want to write about her.
Doing it.
I mean, I am married, but just because, I'm on a diet doesn't mean I can't look at the menu.
Yeah, we're all feeling you on that one. I've been married for 17 years. How long have you been married?
Oh, gosh, I should know this. It will be 12 years in February.
Nice.
No, hang on. 12 years in 12 years in February.
We don't
12
need
years in
exact
February.
dates. Don't
I
ask
love
me what
my wife.
date is.
I am very happy to have an anniversary. I love my wife. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That's made everybody happy.
Yeah.
The wives are listening.
I'm not letting my wife listen to any of this.
I won't speak about my wife very much because she's extremely private and she'd hurt me. So
my wife has agreed to be used as fodder for comedy.
That doesn't surprise me. Cat's cool like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as I don't reveal too many bedroom things.
Which is fair.
Which I just preface with hypothetically.
Okay. Okay. Come on, get back to me. We've gone way off track. Jesus. Okay.
Wait, this is how it's going to be.
This is how it is. So you said that you came up with a perfect fit because you thought of a fit main character, which I like. But surely as you were writing it, it started to mean more to you than just that.
Yeah. This story came about. I did not start listening to lesbian romance novels until New Year's Eve of 2021. So I am brand new to all of this. So when I found them, I pretty much started listening to them all the time. And then we got some really bad news, family-wise, at the end of February, and I needed an escape. My idea had always been to write a book of some sort. And at that point, I just decided pretty much life's too short and I'm not going to wait any longer. Plus, I really needed a form of escape to kind of be able to dissociate out of this stressful time that we were in.
I think that's the basis of a lot of,
I definitely think. Actually, I'm very similar to you, Kellen. I didn't come to sapphic writing until probably about 2021, actually. I was really late to it too. And then I found it and it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know where I picked it up. It may have been a little bit before you guys. But I've always just been a massive, massive reader. And one day I'm like, but I'd rather read sapphic. Let's see what's out there. And I live on Kindle Unlimited and the selections weren't always great.
Yeah.
It wasn't at the level it is now, where everybody has somebody working in an editing capacity or a proofreading capacity and working together. It was a lot more of a solo journey back then. So, yeah.
And how have you found that, Kellen? Because we've spoken over Messenger a few times, and you've been quite surprised at how supportive other authors have been and helping you out and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody that I've contacted has been helpful. And there are some people like yourself, Allison, who I just feel like I can come to with, basic questions, because I really felt, I sat on this novel. I finished this novel last May. Yeah. So I sat on this novel for a long time before I finally decided to jump into and get it published, because I was so scared of trying to figure out exactly what I needed to do to go about doing that. But I swear, every person that I've talked to, every author that I've spoken with, I have absolutely the utmost respect for, and everybody has been amazing.
That's really nice to hear, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Right, so going back to your books, once again, we've gone way off track. That's cool. That's what we're rambling about. Your first main character came to you because she was hot. What about the other characters in there? How did they come about?
I've said it before. I am a pantser. I do not have a story in mind. I literally sit down and start writing, and things happen as they happen. In my book that I'm writing right now, I just finished an entire chapter that I had no idea that it was happening. I don't outline anything. Like, I come up with characters and the basis for ideas, but as far as the quote-unquote story and how we get from point A to point HEA, I don't have any plans.
See, I will start a book completely, I'll write whatever, see what happens, and it gets to a point where I'm like, I really kind of need to know where it's going, because this could be frigging going anywhere. And then I start just jotting things down for you. That's my board.
Oh yeah, I see it.
So I've got a little cork board that I just stick things on and just try and keep my brain in gear so it makes some frigging sense by the end of it.
And since I'm not an author, I don't do any of that. I get to be on the other spectrum. When you guys are all done, you send it to me, and
you get to laugh at us.
You know what? I don't. I love the process. I absolutely love the process, and it's a joy because part of what I have to do is put myself kind of as you to. If I'm going to change a word, I need to make sure that the author would use that word.
Yeah.
So I get to be in a parallel process, which really works well for my OCD.
Okay, now, Karen, picture this. So you're sitting at your computer, you're writing, and it's just not happening. The flow is not there.
Yeah. You know, I would probably just get up and take a break. I have been in an industry, you know, my entire life where I'm writing or editing in some capacity. And so I know that at some point my eyes will start to cross, and it's just whatever it is at that moment is just not happening anymore. And so, you know, it's kind of really, there's no point in continuing. So you go, you take a nap, you play with a kitten, you do some yoga, you go out for a run, you know, all of these things, just get away from it for a second. And oftentimes when that happens, I'll end up getting some sort of idea, again, out of nowhere because there are no plans. And then I'll come back to it.
So I have a question. Are you a person with an internal head voice?
Not just one.
Okay, yeah. So what's happening is you're going out into the world and you're letting them take a break. And when they start talking again, you know that you can go back. Is that kind of
they get tired too, I think. So, you know, they need a break.
Right. I am fascinated with the brain and inner voices and inner vision. I really like to delve into that. So another question that's not on there, how are you doing with your imposter syndrome?
Not good. I'll just say not good. Every day I wake up and I still have not gotten to the point where I feel comfortable with any of this. I will just be completely honest with you. I see the sales and I see, you know, I've been in the top 10 for like 2 weeks now, and I see the messages from people and the emails, and it's just like, this is not actually happening. I never expected anything like this to happen. So the imposter syndrome is real and lives in a large 2-bedroom inside my head.
Nice. Well, we have great faith that your second novel is going to land the same way. So you have enough writing experience. It's obvious that even though this is not your first, this is your first book, but it's not the beginning of your writing journey. It's obvious by the way you write.
Yes. I started writing from a very young age, and my mother found poetry that I was writing when I was like 5 or 6 years old. You know, just cute kid things. And entered me in some sort of poetry contest, and I was like a published poet when I was in kindergarten. So yeah, I've written stuff my whole life. I'll tell you funny. When I was in high school, then I was doing really well in my English classes. I started a job when I was 16, so I was a junior in high school, and I got to know a lot of college kids at my job, and we would get to talking and, you know, talking about English and whatnot. And I had a pretty lucrative business of selling my essays to college students. So that was fun as a child, you know, getting that pocket money in addition to the money that I was already making at my job.
That's excellent.
That is excellent. Let's go back to one of our questions we got here for you. What's your most unusual writing quirk?
Wow, a quirk. I really like to listen. I really like to listen to music. I know a lot of people say they like silence or white noise, and I can write with those kinds of things, but with the amount of things that are going on in my head at any one point in time, it's easier for me when I have music playing in the background. So I guess writing quirks would be writing these extensive, lovely, emotional, you know, scenes with my characters while like Megadeth is screaming in the background. So
nice. What's the funniest typo you've ever written?
Okay, so it wasn't in a book, but I will never forget this as long as I live. I was in my early 20s. Was I in my early 20s? Yeah, I think so. And Will Smith had just released the movie Enemy of the State. And I was searching it online, and I mistyped somehow, and I searched for Enema of the State, and I got to learn a lot about kinks that I didn't know existed that day. So that's probably right up there.
That's awesome. I think that part of the sapphic journey is also being exposed to kinks that you hadn't considered before.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so vanilla.
Not anymore, not because you know it all.
Well, I know it, but that doesn't mean I get to like do it.
I feel like we're going to end up going into a territory I wouldn't be happy about this.
Well, no, yeah. I saw that writing prop yesterday at Decathlon. That was cute.
You did?
Yeah. And I went to the sports store yesterday here in France, and in the horse section for the little children, they have writing props, and there was a red one with hearts on it, and it was like $5 for like a 7-year-old. And
did you buy it?
I didn't. Cat called, and I had to leave. So
why were you in the riding section just out of...
I look at all the sections in Decathlon.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me that you got a secret horse somewhere or something.
No, I'm not into horses.
But at least now you know where you can get a riding crop for a hell of a lot cheaper than if you were going on for a sex crop.
Yeah. Yeah, no. The French have it
I think that's probably the case, yes. You could probably find a lot of things that you would normally use in those sorts of situations in a completely different section of the store for a lot less money.
Well, now we're all aware. We're all going to be nipping off to the local store.
Yeah, but you get some funny looks in Home Depot. Maybe I've heard that.
Maybe I've heard that.
Maybe I've heard that.
Okay, we're coming up to the last question. So it's, how do you think being a writer has helped you as a person?
I think that it gives me a place to go when real life is just too much for me. As someone who's neurodivergent, unfortunately, that does happen to me quite a bit. It's easy for me to get overloaded and need my own time. And in those times, if I'm able to dissociate into a story, that's like a double whammy as far as, assisting that and relaxation goes. So I definitely think it helps to keep me a calmer person and more focused on like the day-to-day of life, just being able to have that escape and relax for a while.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Well, Kellen, we have truly enjoyed having you join us for our very first interview on Rambling Lesbians. Can't even say it now. Rambling Lesbians.
It's because you live in France now. The English language, it starts to go, right?
Yeah, it does. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, what is this in English? And my French wife is like, I don't remember either. So
we've spoke about this before. It's because both of our wives are French. And I can honestly say I sat down with my wife and we're having a conversation. Well, I think we're having a conversation, and we are on two completely different wavelengths because what we're talking about is not transferring properly. Yeah. And you know what? You just get to the end of it and you have no idea what's just happened. 5 minutes of your life have just been wasted. But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, we still love them.
Yes. We have to.
But that's not even just the language barrier part. My wife is English, and that happens to us on the daily after, being together for 13 years, married for 11. That happens to us absolutely daily.
Just to clarify, English as in British or
from the UK?
Yes.
You found a UK?
From
Bless you.
And her wife was from just up the road from where I was born.
That's awesome.
Isn't that freaky?
That is.
I like it. Have you got any news on your second book? Have you got an idea of when you want it to come out? Can you give us any details about it? Or is it a highly guarded secret?
Or you just don't know?
Well, no, it's not a highly guarded secret. It's just, I'm a little paranoid about it. It's going to be quite different from a perfect fit. It's going to have to it's going to be a series of 3 involving 3 sisters and their lives. And it's going to have to deal with a lot of, I don't want to say angst. I feel like angst gets a really bad rap in the community, but a lot of really serious, heavy topics in the first book before we can move on to the second and third books, which I feel like will be quite a bit more fun, and I guess more like into the rom-com stuff. But I mean, the first book will still have funny parts. It just won't be, you know. I get messages constantly about how funny A Perfect Fit was. It won't be that. I mean, you'll laugh, but you'll cry more.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think personally, as an author, it's important to diversify what you write.
Absolutely.
So you're not, you haven't constantly got the same book, but just with slightly different characters every single time. And sure, I mean, as authors, don't we use our experiences and our emotions in our books? You know, so
absolutely.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I drew on a lot of personal experiences for A Perfect Fit. So yeah, I think that's just going to be part of writing, at least for me, is, to draw on a lot of things that I've experienced and been through in my entire life. Some funny, some not so funny, but it gives me a lot of material to write about, at least. The insanity gives me material to write about. I like that.
Yes. I like that. Yes. The insanity gives me something to write about. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, Kellen McKnight with the superhero name, thank you very, very much for joining us on our very first episode of Rambling Lesbians, called Chapter 1. We're on to a really cool part of the programme now, which is where we share our book recommendations and a book quote, which was actually Crystal's idea, wasn't it?
It was.
You decided,
well, we read so much. Let's grab some really amazing quotes. I'm going a little off topic on my book recommendation and quote this time, mainly because I really need to do a plug for a book that some lovely authors were kind enough to put me in as a character. Not only did they name the character after me, they picked up some of my qualities, and I didn't know how, and then I remembered I am on TikTok. Oh, by the way, if you need to find me on TikTok, it's Crazy Old Lesbian on TikTok. That's me. So my book recommendation is All Wrapped Up in You by T.B. Markinson and Adrian J. Smith. It came out about 6 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I saw both of them in Las Vegas. They're lovely. And here's my quote, based off my character. It's, is your grandmother always a hoot, or is she off her meds? And the response is, she reached the age where she doesn't care what people think. And that is so me.
That's something I strive to get to. I want to get to an age where I genuinely don't give a shit what people think about me.
Well, you can start today.
Yeah.
I know it's harder than it sounds.
It is.
But one of the other great things about that book is they not only incorporated me and some of my quirks and traits, they also added my vibrator. So C-Star is in there, as well as the link to my website at the back of the book.
That's really cool that they did that.
Right. And in response to that, I've given all of the readers and anybody that wants to use it code for $5 off. It's all caps bubble wrap. And one of the things I did for my website is make sure that the product that I sell is not only top of the line, but I sell it at in an affordable way for people that don't, I guess, I don't want to say low income, but just don't have the
$150 to spend on one sex toy.
So it's the equivalent of $150 sex toy for less than $50. You can get it for $30 with the coupon, and I send them out internationally. I've sent them to Australia and South Africa.
So there you go. So Crystal's book recommendation is all wrapped up. And to be fair, I've read it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy the TV Madison. The bubble wrap scene. We won't spoil it for you if you haven't read it. Go out there. It's on Kindle Unlimited.
It is.
Go and read it and just get to the bubble wrap part. It's cool.
All right. What's your recommendation?
Right. So my recommendation is a book that I bought for my wife before I ever started reading sapphic fiction. It was Christmas and I wanted to get her something different. So I went on to Amazon and I ordered Survival Instincts by May Dorney. It's a dystopian novel. And I thought that my wife, she likes dystopian stuff. So she sat and read it and she didn't stop. And I thought, oh, wow, that's quite, she's not usually that kind of a reader. So then I got hold of it and read it and it was excellent. The way May writes, the tension, it literally leaves you holding your breath on some of them. Have you read it?
I have not read that one, but I have read books where I've literally had to take emotional pauses.
So this book is about a character who was born in the dystopian world. So wild animals are roaming free. Everybody's come like into a bit of a tribal kind of situation. And it's every kind of man, woman out for themselves. It's a book that sucks you in completely. So I've looked for her again, and I don't think I've seen another book by her, May Dorney.
Well, and that's
she's published through, is it Evla? Yeah. So she's published through a publishing house. I really highly recommend it. If you want to borrow it, you can, because it is excellent. There's some bits in there that would honestly make me think, if we lived in a dystopian world, I think I'd just give up.
I know. I
just don't think I'd bother trying.
No, I wouldn't.
So that's my book recommendation, Survival Instincts, a dystopian novel by May Dorney. My quote, now I've got 3 of them, but I'm just going to pick one. I've got one that I thought you might actually have, by J.J. Arias.
Oh, yeah.
I think that might be. So I'm gonna pick a different one just in case. So my quote is, holding on to a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping the other person is going to die. And I picked that because my wife says to me, I hold grudges too much. And she might not be wrong. And I read that and I was kind of thought, that really makes sense actually, because I'm the one pissed off about something that has happened God knows how many years ago,
right? And
it's not bothering anybody else apart from me.
I'm gonna send that to my wife then, because she'll hold grudge too.
I'm terrible. I'm very bad at it. And that was from Coast Guard Rescue 1, by Natalie Debredonaire. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. It's a series I enjoyed, but I really like that that quote. I would say I'm going to try and not hold grudges, but it's kind of like just in my DNA, I think.
I don't have the ability to hold a grudge.
No,
it's part of my brain damage. I literally forget.
Could you before?
I could before.
Right. Okay.
But
would you before?
Not for very long, because I learned pretty early on in my life that carrying other people's baggage and their emotions gets really heavy.
Yes.
So I'm just going to keep carrying my own and let everybody else's go.
And that is something that I definitely need to try and work on.
Yeah.
So there you have it. There's our book recommendations. We've got Survival Instincts by May Dorney.
And All Wrapped Up in You by T.B. Markelson and Adrian J. Smith.
Absolutely. That, funnily enough, wraps up this episode. Like how I did that.
You did.
I did.
Wrapped it all up.
I did.
Can we do it in bubble wrap?
So the next episode, which will be chapter 2, is going to be our sex scene, all things sex, really, I suppose. Episode.
We're going to go 3 knuckles deep on the next one.
Absolutely. The author is going to be yours truly, which is me.
I get to interview Alison Root.
And that is because my book will be coming out that month. And the book is called Love and Other Wild Things. It is my first book to be published through a publishing house, which is Sapphire Books Publishing. I'm super excited for it to come out. I'll talk about the book, and hopefully you're going to really enjoy it because I had a lot of fun writing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I hope that we entertained you some. I'm really sorry if we went off a little bit and bored you on shitless.
We are not going to apologize for going off track, because that is what we do.
Is that a real British thing for me to do? So just
apologize.
I'm sorry. There you go. See, I apologize for everything.
And I'm here to stop that.
There we go.
We are not having apologies.
So we're super excited.
Don't forget to join our Facebook group.
Absolutely.
Rambling Lesbians. And please leave us a review and let us know what we're doing right or wrong. And
don't forget Rage Quitters.
And don't forget to rage quit if that's what you're really feeling.
Yeah, because why the hell not? We will post any questions that we want your feedback on in the group.
Mm-hmm.
So please feel free to get involved. It doesn't matter. Say whatever you want to say. Just get it out there. So till the next time, Ramblers, have a great time. Have a great life.
Yep.